Yeah, this might not be a very sort of popular thing to say in a film about anarchism, but my feeling about individual freedom and whether certain forms of sort of social organisation might diminish human freedom, whether there might be a tension like that within anarchism. My personal view is that human freedom is, individual freedom is not the most important thing in the world. There are other things that seem to me more important, like having enough to eat. You know, I mean, if you don't have those basic conditions met, then the talk of individual freedom is really just a fantasy. Which is why I'm personally drawn to the social anarchist end of the spectrum much more than to the individual anarchist end of the spectrum. It seems to me that the current state that a lot of us in the West live in which there's a lot of weight attached to the notion of individual freedom and choice and autonomy and so on. But when it comes down to it, the preconditions of that freedom are really not being met, certainly not on a global scale, and often not on a national scale either. And I think maybe we need to sort out our political priorities there before we start worrying about costs to individual freedom. Certainly, of course, we've all witnessed oppressive regimes where individual freedom is trampled on, and I'm not for a minute saying that we should put up with that. But I think the idea of trying to design a form of social organisation in which people have a basic sphere of human liberty, but in which there is also an emphasis on the forms of sort of solidarity and collective values, and the way in which that society needs to organise itself in order to provide the preconditions for that freedom, that is a much more attractive political vision than one that just talks about 4 forms of individual freedom.